Change can be hard, whether it's raising standards or adjusting rehearsal culture or introducing new repertoire. Improvements often feel risky and members might resist, committees can overthink and energy can dip. And because of that, many choirs stay exactly as they are. Not because they don't want to improve, but because change feels uncomfortable. And sometimes, if we're honest, it's easier to leave things as they are. But here's the challenge. If nothing changes, nothing improves. Today we're talking about how to lead change effectively without friction. So your choir gets stronger while people stay engaged, confident and motivated. Welcome back to this week's edition of The Ambitious Choir. So part one, why change feels risky. Let's start with what's really going on here, because most resistance to change isn't about the change itself, it's about how it feels. For singers, change can feel like uncertainty or pressure or even quiet anxiety. They think, am I going to struggle with this? Am I going to fall behind? Is this something I can't keep up with? And those thoughts don't always get said out loud. They just show up as hesitation or reduced confidence or even disengagement. Now for committees it's slightly different. Change can feel like risk or disruption or a loss of control. Will this upset people? What if we lose members? Is this too much too soon? And again, those concerns are absolutely valid, because choirs are built on people, and people don't always respond well to sudden shifts. Now layer on top of that if there's been inconsistency in the past, so changes were introduced and then dropped, or standards raised and then softened, and people can become sceptical. They start to think, is this going to actually stick? Or are we going to go back to how it was? And that's where the friction comes from. Not from ambition and not from improvement, but from uncertainty and inconsistency. Now, ambitious choirs understand this. They don't avoid change, but they lead it carefully with clarity and consistency and with communication. Let's look at a framework for leading change. So let me give you a simple framework that you can use. It's one of the most practical things you can apply straight away. It's called plan, prepare, persuade and practice. 4 steps. And when you follow them, change stops feeling disruptive and it starts to feel more natural. So number 1, plan. Start with clarity. What exactly are you changing? Because that's one of the biggest mistakes leaders make, is trying to change too much all at once. Rehearsal structure, standards, repertoire, behaviour, all in one go. And that is when people feel overwhelmed. So instead, pick one thing, just one, and be clear on why it matters. And what does success look like? For example, we want cleaner cut-offs, we want rehearsals to start on time, and we want more focus during the singing. Simple, clear and achievable, because clarity reduces anxiety. Now, number 2, prepare. Now, you've got to start thinking ahead. What will your choir need to make this work? Because if people don't feel ready, they resist. Not because they disagree, but because they just don't feel confident. Now, preparation might look like explaining expectations clearly, sharing examples of what good sounds like, and structuring rehearsals so that the change is supported. For example, if you want tighter timing, don't just say it, demonstrate it. If you want more focus, don't just expect it. Design rehearsals that make focus easier. And importantly, think about people's concerns in advance. What might people worry about? Is it too difficult? Is it too fast? Is it too strict? And have your answers ready. Because confident leaders don't react to resistance, they anticipate it. Now, number 3, persuade. This is where change either works or fails. Because this is about people, not process. You're not just introducing a change. You're asking people to come with you on the journey to change. So how you communicate matters. Frame that change as an improvement, not a correction, never as a correction. For example, instead of "we need to stop talking so much," try, "look, if we reduce talking, then we'll get through more and rehearsals will feel better, and more often than not, you'll get better value for money." Same outcome, completely different feeling. Now also, involve people, ask questions. When you've tried something, say, "Did that feel tighter? Did it sound clearer?" And let them experience the benefit. Because once people start to feel the improvement, they start resisting and they start supporting, which makes future change far easier. And the 4th element is practice. Now, this is where you implement, but do it gradually. Because if you try to change everything, people wobble. Or worse, they disengage. So instead, introduce it step by step, but reinforce it consistently, week after week after week. Because this is where leadership really shows, because consistency builds trust. If you say something matters, it has to matter next week too, and the week after that, and the week after that. And when it starts to work, say it. For example, "that sounded loads tighter," or "that felt really much more focused tonight. Great work tonight, ladies." And celebrate the progress, because progress builds confidence, and confidence makes the next change easier. So what does this look like in practice? So let's bring all this framework to life in a simple example. Let's say, for example, you want to improve rehearsal focus. Instead of announcing a big change, you could approach it like this. So in the plan element, we're going to improve focus during singing. That's your objective. Now, preparation is that you structure your rehearsals more tightly. Reduce downtime between sections, so move between the sections more quickly. Now, persuade, so the 3rd element, if we stay focused, we'll make faster progress and it will feel more enjoyable. And then practice. When talking starts, just pause, wait calmly, and then continue. No frustration, no confrontation, just calm, consistent leadership. And over time, people adjust. The culture will shift. And what once felt like a change just becomes how we do things. So, our 3 key takeaways from today. Let's finish with that standard 3 key takeaways. Number 1, change isn't the problem. It's how it's introduced is what creates fiction. Okay? Number 2, use the framework, plan, prepare, persuade, and practice. And keep changes small, clear, and consistent. And number 3, being ambitious isn't about changing everything all at once. It's about leading steady, thoughtful improvements that people can come on with you. So if you take one action from today, pick one small improvement and apply this framework this week. That's how choirs evolve, not through big dramatic shifts, but through consistent, confident leadership. Now, if today's episode resonates, subscribe to The Ambitious Choir. And next time, we'll step back and reflect. We'll look back at everything that we've covered in the last 9 episodes and what it means for your choir, and also what's coming next in season 2. But until then, lead carefully, act intentionally, and never ever be afraid to be ambitious.